Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompiani. Thanks for joining us tonight. As always, lots to debate. We'll get into the Pitt Panthers, Tarp, and Pat Narduzzi. We'll also talk about the national playoff. A lot of weird results yesterday, and you wonder which 4 teams will emerge 1 through 4 this week. We have our take, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Pittsburgh Steelers after a win, albeit one that they might not have deserved. We'll talk about it with our panel. Here you go, left to right on your television screen. Andrew Filipponi from the Cook and Pony Show, 93.7 The Fan, and I should say nationally known but locally owned. He's on CBS Sports Radio like he was last night, nationally. In the middle, it's Will Graves, outstanding journalist from the Associated Press, and Colin Dunlap, the host, the anchor of the Fan Morning Show, every day from 4:30 until 10 o'clock on the Fan.
5:40.
4:30, man.
4:30, 5:30.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, what time do you show up, Colin?
Like 2.
Okay.
He's going straight from the show.
I don't know what time zone I'm in right now. Anyway, let's talk about the game here. When you watch that game first half, one of the worst first halves I've seen the Steelers play, and at that point I wondered, and I said at the end of the game, did they deserve to win this game, Colin? Did they?
No, they deserve to win. A win is a win is a win. Ben got it together at the end. Antonio Brown made a play, and they made a kick. But there are a lot of moving into a short week. #1, Le'Veon Bell. Was the offensive line good enough to block for him? And #2, for me, the big question is what you do at corner. Joe Hayden with the broken leg. Is Cody Sensabaugh good enough for you? I don't know. I think there's trouble in the secondary. I think they'll be able to kind of patchwork it together, but you really have to wonder about the pass defense now.
Well, I know that I grade Pittsburgh on a really harsh curve because I think that this is a team that's talented enough to go to a Super Bowl. So they were good enough to beat a 3-6 team because of their second half. But I'm sorry, I came away from this game very unimpressed. I mean, here we are, 9 games for the season, and we still don't have an offensive performance from this team that we can kind of hang our hat on or say this is what they need to do to win in the playoffs. So. And every time Indy's played a good team, they've gotten blown out this year. This is the first time they've been competitive, and I say it's because the Steelers played down to the competition again.
Right, but the flip side of that is they play up to their competition later in the season. I mean, they're not trying to make the college football playoff here. I'm not that concerned. I'd rather, to Colin's point, I give Sensabaugh at least 1 week to see what you got. You're going to have a guy that's been in your system for a few months. You're going to find somebody off the street to play that position, or maybe you slide Will Gay over to give that a shot. I think that the pass rush was good enough today that the secondary didn't have to be that great in the second half. That being said, we can talk about, would you rather them lose this game? Whether they deserved it or not doesn't matter. If they get to the end of December and they're 13-3, nobody's going to remember that they were meh against the Colts.
So a pretty big takeaway for me is this offensive line this year. They've been up, they've been down, they've been up, they've been down. We talked before the season that they may have been, if you look at it on paper, the best offensive line in Steeler franchise history. They had an opportunity to be. For me today, especially in the first 3 quarters, they got beat up.
I want to push back a little bit on what both of you guys have said here. So you want to feel like this team, when you look at the second half schedule, there are so many easy winnable games because of the quarterbacks they're playing. You watch this game today, I don't know, it makes me feel worse about a game on Christmas in Houston. I want to feel like there are games for the Steelers that based on their talent, they should automatically
win.
Well,
I understand your point. Like, a win is a win is a win, that you can't accept that. I get it. But they made a couple plays when they needed to. Shazier made an ultra-athletic play. Ben was vintage Ben, only for a snap, but he was vintage Ben by escaping and finding Antonio Brown, who kept the play alive and went 32 yards or whatever it was. That said, Andrew, in full form, you don't always have the whole game. Look at the totality. Look at not scoring 40 points. Sometimes when you're in it, and you're in a 2-point game or whatever it may be, you just got to gut it up and make a couple plays. That's why I can't take a total negative out of this. They gutted it up and they made a couple plays. Negative.
Every single Super Bowl team, and we believe this is a team that's talented enough to go there, right? They have a few of these during the season, every single one. Better to win those games when you don't play that well. I'm sure even your beloved Patriots, weren't they 3-3? Didn't they get crushed by the Chiefs?
Well, they were actually 14-2 last year. They only lost 1 game after Tom Brady came back, and it was to Seattle.
And they've done what? They've lost 3 times at home this year, right, Andrew?
No, they've got 2 losses.
2 at home.
Yeah.
and giving up 1 billion points in most of those games. Right?
I mean, so what are you trying to say, Will? You think the Steelers are better
I'm
than the
saying I'm not
Patriots?
going to judge whether they're good enough to win the Super Bowl, whether the fact that they were kind of crappy for 3 hours.
Okay.
All right, let me ask you guys this, and we'll start with you on this one. When you look at this, we had this debate on our postgame show. Chris Hoke had an interesting take, blaming the players for a terrible first half and not coaches. How much blame should go to coaches versus players when you start like this? And I think we all would agree if this was a good team they were playing with that start, they would not have won.
Yes.
So where does the blame go?
Well, I mean, how much blame do you want to throw around in a game in which they won? I mean, I think that I put it on the players, to be honest with you, because, look, I go in that locker room every week, and when they play a bad team, I always go to guys like DeCastro or Darius Hayward-Bay, guys that I consider to be sort of the conscience of the room. And they say, Will, yes, I know you're going to ask us, why do we always suck when we play bad teams? I don't know. We're going to be better this time.
Were they?
Well, they're not. Obviously, they were not that great today, so I think it's on the players. I think the coaches put together game plans to win the game. So it's on the back end of that, I would say when you're flat early, I think a lot of that's on the players.
Look, again, there's a lot of room for improvement. And by the way, I loved Ben and Haley going at each other, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. But sometimes you just end up finding a way to win. Andrew, why is it always that the negative has to kind of put a parachute over all that? Why do you have to put all the negative in a canister? Why can't the Steelers, and I'm not here to applaud them or say they're going to be in Super Bowl or say they're even going to beat New England in a couple weeks, but why can't the storyline be they were terrible for a half, but they found a way to win?
It can be.
It should be.
Right, okay. But I'll rebuttal what Will said. Knowing your feelings on Ben, Will, I don't think you're looking at this game and seeing the quarterback and saying he looked like a Super Bowl caliber quarterback today. So even though it's a win, you parse down and analyze some of the things that happened.
Look,
it's not so black and white. It's not so black and white. They won, so everything's peachy.
He's 35 years old. He has diminishing skills. Ben is what he is. What do you want to do? Play Landry Jones? Like, what are the options right now? This is the end of Ben's career.
He thinks Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback.
I do think Kirk Cousins right now today is a better quarterback.
There you go, Colin.
Okay.
And when he's here next year after the Steelers win the Super Bowl and Cousins signs for $20 million, we can have this discussion next
All right. But until then, we're going to talk when we come back about all the, they did so many things today that should have resulted in a loss, including the botched point after, which could have been a 2-point conversion. We're going to talk about the other 2-point conversion and why it took a timeout, a delay of game before they actually executed that play. What went into that? That's next. Don't go away. You're watching the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown right here on KDKA TV. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.